When I was at university, and I'm one of the few people who can actually put half of their names with considerable pride, BA honours, Manchester failed. It's true. I walked out after you. We had a lecture in political economy, which may be the most boring subject, and he'd just start, so I'm just starting. So somebody said, am I actually going to explain what these 5 W's are? The answer is no! Just to remind you, Mozart wrote 31 excellent symphonies, all to the same formula. Do not be afraid of formulae. Formulae keep you on track. Yeah? And I'm going to give you a couple, and this is one. The one that I said was an old journalistic formula. And I did say to you, the most important thing about who you're talking to. Yeah? What do you want them to know and do? In other words, this is your objective. What do I want these people to actually do as a result of my message? When is the best time to talk to them? You catch a person at the right time, you're away. I showed you an example of an insurance mailing, and that's catching people as they're about to renew. Very, very important. That can be far more important than any wacky creative idea you have. Where do you find them? Where are they? What lists are they on? They're on a list, on a database selection, on the internet, in a medium, publication, television, wherever they may be. Where are they? And why should they do what you want? Which is really, you think that's really the whole thing, but in fact these other things are in a way more important. You tend to think, why should people do what those other things are actually more important. When I go and see a client, I normally, very quickly, I say, tell me, have you communicated with these people before? If so, what happened? Yeah? So that's where we start. Do they have a relationship with you? You know? And that's why talk about relationship management is relevant. Yeah? Of course you don't want to have a bloody relationship with your bank. You hate the bastards, yeah? But on the other hand, whether you like it or not, you do have a relationship with your bank, you know. If you sent something out before, what happened? Did they tell you to sod off? You know? What happened? You know? Did they not reply at all? If so, why? What role do individuals play in, you know, the husband thinks one thing, the wife thinks another. The wife thinks, let's have a new kitchen, and the husband says, we don't have any money. Yeah. The most elaborate form of that is when you're selling to businesses, where many people are involved in the decision. Yeah? What kind of people are there? What kind of company? You will vary the way you talk to people according to who you're talking to. Yeah? Good example, everybody knows that all investors are schizophrenic. Yeah? 50% of them wants to make a ton of money, and 50% of them is terrified of losing it. So this one, which did extremely well for Zurich, the adventurous Mr. So-and-so, the cautious Mr. So-and-so, hits the spot. Absolutely brilliant. I'm going to show you a few things just to keep you amused. So you've got to tell me which one of these did better. Because all the examples I'm going to show, they all have some relevance. So if you've ever been on a diet, here's good news, bad news, and real news. Remember, the headline is the most important factor in an advertisement, the headline-picture combination. This was tested in the Philippines against, do you turn your head when someone shouts, hey, fatso? Mm-hmm. So which one would have done better? Who thinks that A would have beaten B? And who thinks that B would beat A? That most people always get this wrong. Remember what the very first thing I said to you, it's just salesmanship. No salesman would start by insulting his customer. Yeah? So it may be funny, and you may think, oh, that's great, it's really, oh, well, that's clever. Yeah? It may be clever, but it's disastrous. When are you talking to people? Yeah? Who are you talking to? You're talking to people born at that time, very, very effective. Not particularly brilliant, but a good picture which illustrates the period you're talking about. It telegraphs instantly. You have 2 seconds to get people's attention. That does the job. What do you want them to do? They think you're cheap and nasty. You want to persuade them you're better than they think, so they should give you a try. Yeah? Chloe, can you come up here, because we're going to show a thing. You want them to give you information. For instance, complete a questionnaire. You want them to stay loyal, keep buying. And here's an example of a terrific commercial. They think you're cheap and nasty, but you're not.
I buy this tea for my husband. He likes tea. He also likes this one. I don't like tea. I like gin.
So put the other one out, Ashley. Can you go back to it? And there's another one that I think is just as good. There's a little.
That one?
Yeah.
I like this one, and I like this one. And I don't like boys.
I don't like boys. Absolutely brilliant. Very, very quick. But they immediately get over the proposition, yeah? So what do I want you to do? I want you to try these wretched cakes. There's stuff through your doors. Here's another trick. As I go along, I'm trying to tell you about tricks that you can use, yeah? So it isn't handwritten, but it looks as though it's handwritten, yeah? And what happens with copy is that it's like the theatre. You go into the theatre, and you know it's a theatre, but within minutes it's real, yeah? And that works in the same way. So that's saying he liked them so much, he had to eat them. Yeah? Handwritten works very, very well. Again, they know it's not handwritten, but it still works very well. Yeah. You want them to upgrade, buy something richer, more expensive, buy more often, deal with you more. They bought a sports drink, sell them some vitamins. Switch from or ignore the competition. Recommend a friend. The easiest ways of getting business are number 1, number 2. Yeah? The easiest way of getting business, recommend a friend. Cheapest way, more sales made through personal recommendation. That's when somebody invented the word viral marketing. That's all it was, recommend a friend. The Americans are great at this, you know, they'll come up with some phrase and write a whole book about it. You could describe it in 3 sentences. Yeah. This is something written by my partner, who is now departed. And this, all they're asking, this is an email. Dear Mr. Parker, I wonder if you can help me. We're planning a series of briefing sessions in partnership with independent experts on hot topics that affect the industry. Attendance is free by invitation. Could you please have a look at the suggested topics and timings and tell me what you think? I know you're busy, so I want to ensure the subjects are relevant and the timing is convenient. Not very creative, but if I told you the response rate that got, you would sit down. You're still sitting there, you'd stand up. Yeah? Because incredibly effective, very, very simple. Asking people what they think is hugely effective, especially if you link it to an invitation. Yeah? I don't know the exact figures of what that will produce, but I would say that little email sent out to a relatively small number of people, I would think well under 1,000, will produce millions of pounds worth of business with one follow-up. And yet it's deceptively simple.
Can you just tell us what the title of the email was?
Pardon?
What's the subject line?
I'll tell you what it was. You know, it says, I wonder if you can help me. The subject line was, can you help me? It's actually something she stole from something I did for somebody else, but it works like a charm. Can you help me? People like to help people. Nothing creative about it. Here you are, these 2 envelopes. What are you trying to get people to do here? For everyone over 55, an important question that cannot wait, and some free advice, which was tested against, do you believe in life after death? Yeah. Which do you think better? This one? Who do you think thinks this one would have done better? And who thinks this one would have done better? About even. This one did about, I think, 25% better, something like 20.
We also got into deep trouble.
We got into, I was good, yes, we got into deep trouble because people wrote this. I did this for Save the Children, for legacies, just to get people to give legacies. No use saying give us your money, yeah? So I say, here's a free report. on how to make a will. I wrote the first little booklet on how to make a will, subject on which I know nothing whatsoever. So I read up the books and wrote it. And that was the most effective single mailing they've ever done. And I actually wrote in the copy, we don't want your money. This is just, we just like to tell you about the good work we do. And they got more bloody money in. But we could only run this one once because we had people writing and say, our Auntie Maisie's just died. This was most upsetting. And I said to the client, I said, Auntie Maisie didn't give a shit, she was dead. Yeah?
Well, the main thing was we got a complaint from an old folks home because we tried to clean from the list anybody who lived in an old folks home, and one of them had moved the week before, so it was forwarded, and she actually thought it was a letter from the Almighty.
You see, we write from God. Brian and I had a unique combination.
You know, it was like the opening question of the final questionnaire.
So when will you speak to them? How do they decide? How long does it take? If you can talk to somebody at the right time, you're away, yeah? Where are they in the relationship or their lives? If they're new customers, that's the best time to get them acting, you know. You will never find a better time to get somebody to do something than when they've just made the decision, the emotional decision to buy something from you. They've been with you for a year, thank them. Good example from Expedia. They're saying, welcome back. They're saying, the best time to sell something is when they've just bought, saying, this week's new deals. You're thinking, oh, that was great, we should go there again, or whatever. Yeah? And then thirdly, what did you think? Could you tell us, could you rate us? One of the reasons why Expedia is so successful, they do very simple, effective communications. You could do that. Yeah. You remember, some of you may have got this, some of you didn't, but I wrote it. It was Easter Monday and I thought, oh, what I can write. But Easter Sunday and I sat down and I thought, it's Easter. Can any of you Easter bunnies? So it works absolutely right because it was just at that moment. That's a variation on the one that I just showed you. It said, you know, I wonder if you can help me. Yeah. It really works. So that was how it began. And I was being asked what charm is. And so the very good definition of charm was that somebody who is charming makes both of you think that you're wonderful. But charm is something that makes people smile with recognition, as they do here. I won't send you any naughty messages, you know. And it makes you think, this guy's quite a nice guy, you know. I mean, and this guy wants to help me. You know, one of the best ways to be charming is just that I want to help you, and I'm going to help you. And there's nothing cunning about it. And if you really do want to help people, people will just say, isn't he charming? It's nothing to do. That's all it is. Yeah. A nice person. I want to do business with somebody nice. Yeah? Somebody who takes an interest in me. That is somebody who's charming. If you do the right job in terms of finding out about your customers and what really is interesting to them, they will think that's charming. Yeah? They may not say it to themselves out loud, but that's what you're actually doing. And so on. Yeah. So good times to talk to people. What I'm hoping you'll do, particularly if you when I get the video of this, yeah, you just go through it and write down, say, oh, we could do this, we could do this, we could do this, we could do this. I guarantee that unless you're dead from the neck up, you will go through this and you'll come up with at least 50 things you could do, no matter what your business is. Yeah? And that's all you need. One idea to try. Try one idea every week, and believe me, think about what happens in most businesses. Most businesses don't do anything new or interesting or different in a whole year. Yeah? We carry on doing it the way we've always done it. Not a good idea. They've heard a lot from you, they may not be keen, they haven't heard from you for a while. That's an excuse to write somebody. I don't think I'm showing it in this presentation, but again, I can't remember. We did a campaign for a legal firm to 1,500 lawyers, which took in £1 million. And they'd never received any direct mail in their life. I wrote a 6-page letter which pulled in one order of £100,000, another £50,000. And then my partner wrote a follow-up, an email. It just said, I've never written to you before, and now you hear from me twice in 1 week. Yeah? Bingo. Because it gets people doing the most important thing you have to get people to do when they read your stuff or hear your stuff or watch your stuff, going like this. Yeah? Nodding. You've got to keep them nodding all the way to the order form. So here's a good example of timing. This is my art director for many, many years, Chris Jones. So they were inviting people to come and try the new Land Rover Discovery, come to this country home and drive it around for a day. It's a great time. And then what happens after you've invited somebody to something, you want to know one simple thing. Did they enjoy it? So a week later, there's just one more discovery we'd like to make. Did you enjoy it? Tell us what you liked. Tell us what you didn't like. When you think about communicating with people, there's sort of a thing that clicks on in your brain. So we're doing marketing, yeah? Just stop thinking that way and start thinking, I'm writing to people. If I were writing to real people that I really knew, what would I say? I'd say, well, did you enjoy it? Yeah? Tell us what you liked, tell us what you didn't like. Is there any way we can improve? And so on and so on. It's that simple. Nobody believes it's that simple, but it is. Where do you find them? What's the medium who read? I'm not going to write the same kind of ad for the Sun, yeah, as I would write for the Times. I'm not going to write the same kind of letter to a list of rich people as I'm going to write to a load of people that I want to encourage to start spread betting, yeah, or whatever. Yeah. So what can I learn about the people? I once went to talk to one of the Scottish banks, and my database guy, a funny bloke, do you remember? It was John Wallinger, I think. He was the most boring man I've ever met. I couldn't understand what he was talking. But he did ask an intelligent question. He said, why aren't you mailing this file? And they said, oh, they're the old people, they're the over 60s. I said, so you operate on the basis of they're not bothering you, you won't bother them. Pretty much. So we wrote a letter that simply said, I'd like to say something that people don't say often enough nowadays. Thank you. It's just one page. 3 months later, 92% of these people remembered receiving this letter, yeah? Because the bank had never written to them before. And then we measured what they did with the bank over the next 6 months. Yeah? All you have to do is talk to people nicely. If it's a take one in a restaurant, what is it in a place like this? Yeah? Is it in a little sweet shop? Where is it? Take one of those things, that leaflet that you carry away, you know. Or is it the weekend there was a big sort of little market down just around the corner from here, you know, is it there? Where is it? Because you want to know where people have gone to receive your message. If it's door to door, what kind of area? All these things are important. Here's an example. I was doing a thing, I've been lectured for the Institute of Direct Marketing since they started, and I was doing one year, and I put this up, and the woman at the back row grinned. And I said, are you from British Airways? She said, yeah. And I said, did it work? And she said, yeah. So it says, now we see you, now we don't. You move around as if by magic. And it was written to me, and it said, we noticed that you flew to Madrid, but you didn't fly back. If you fly back with us, we'll give you some more air miles, or whatever it was, yeah? So I knew why I hadn't flown back. I hadn't flown back from, I did a 2-day, imagine this for sheer hell. I did a 2-day seminar in Madrid, all with simultaneous translation. All the students, can't stand another minute. And then I went to Barcelona and did another. So I knew why I'd done it. But I appreciated this, and it works, and I'll tell you why it works, is because you and everybody else in the world today is really pissed off with large corporations that don't give a shit about them, and whose communication consists of press this if you want that, press that if you want the other, press the blah blah blah, di-da-di-da-di-da-di-da. You want to speak to a human being? Don't be ridiculous, we have no human beings here. So you've got a world full of pissed off people, and you have the technology that enables you to do something approaching a personal communication to them. If you say simple things like, I wonder if you can help me. Very simple. Why should they do what you want? Emotional benefits, as we were talking about. much more important than rational ones. What are the main benefits? What's the big thing that you think is going to turn people on? When you do your testing, you will test different main benefits. Is it this? Is it that? Yeah? Compare, which is where we started. You are competing with people. What have you got that they haven't got? Consider relevant incentives, and I'll talk about that in a bit. And very important, what it is matters less than what it does. Good financial news equals more knowledge equals more income. But it should start with get rich quick, not find out all about what's going on in finance. Yeah? Start with what's in it for them. This is something that, actually she did it. I'm missing her already. So this envelope was done by the lady who did the copy. But you see, what does that do? It's all emotion, yeah? It immediately puts you in World War II. Inspirational journeys to the battlefield. I put in new for 2008 because I knew that was going to work, yeah? Retrace the footsteps of heroes. Not go and visit the battlefields, yeah? Retrace the footsteps of heroes, yeah? And what do you want to do when you communicate with people? If possible, you want to give them the sensation that they are experiencing what you are talking about. So one of the great lines in advertising written by a friend of mine, dead now, most of my friends are dead, it was for Hertz. So Hertz puts you in the driver's seat, yeah? Hertz puts you in the driver's seat. So here, the copy I write, dear Mr. Aguiar, see the places where glory was born and men and women died for freedom. What would you say is the difference between a good holiday and one you remember for years? It's more than places, isn't it? It's the stories about what happened in those places and seeing exactly where they happened. Look, this is where Adolf Hitler served as a corporal in 1914. See the graffiti in this graveyard? They were done 90 years ago by British Tommies. Just over there, Rudyard Kipling's heart was broken, for his only son died here. From here, Napoleon saw his dreams of empire vanish forever at Waterloo. This little white-fronted inn was Wellington's headquarters. I'm giving them a tour of the tour they're going to take, yeah? That's what you have to try and do. You have to try and do a demonstration in words and pictures, yeah? As though they are there. As though they are there. And they'll read a lot. Ask yourself about the subject you're talking about. Is the subject you're talking about boring or interesting? Yeah? Well, holidays. People look forward to them for months and months and months. And if you're really good at what you do, you can find out the things that will make other people really interested in them. Yeah? Explain why what you say is true. Find out somebody else who says it's true. The internet is a marvellous thing because you can go along and you can find so many facts to justify the statements you make. Yeah? You can so quickly make comparisons with other things that are doing the same sort of job. Yeah? Use testimonials with faces and signatures if possible. Somebody asked me a question about testimonials, and the answer with testimonials, make them as genuine as you can. Yeah? Don't change a thing. If they mispronounce, misspell, whatever it is, ungrammatic, doesn't matter. If you can put the face in there, they believe it. Yeah? If you can get them to sign, they believe it. Notice, incidentally, in the very first piece of copy I showed you today, Richard Brooks, I can't remember his first name, his copy was illiterate practically, full of grammatical errors. But nobody sits there and says, I don't like the grammar. They don't care. They just think, does this hit me here? Blown up the machine. Give test results. Convince people. Yeah? The greatest problem you have is you're here and there's somebody hundreds, maybe thousands of miles away. Yeah? They can't see you. They don't believe you. Yeah? Very, very important to convince. They're exposed to different figures are given. 2, 3, 4, 5,000 advertising messages a day. How the hell are you going to get them to believe you? They've got people telling them lies all day long. Politicians, blah, 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 blah. How can you convince them? Just to remind you, Claude Hopkins. How many people here have read Claude Hopkins? That's a good audience to have read that many read Claude Hopkins. That's the man to read. 10 times better than me. The man that Ogilvy made, David Ogilvy used to copy. We all copied him. 1924, if anyone hasn't got it, 1924, scientific advertising, just go to Drayton Bird, commonsense.com and download it free. 48 pages long, less than an hour to read. I must have read it 20 or 30 times. It's wonderfully simple. Wonderfully simple. Can you demonstrate the product or describe how it feels to use? That's what I was doing with that piece about the trip. Yeah. What would you say and do if you were sitting in... I often say to clients, I send them a client, I think, called a briefing template, where I ask lots and lots of questions. And very often I'll then say to the client, I'll tell you what I'd like you to do. Imagine you're sitting in front of a prospect and you've got to sell or die. You've got to sell or you'll be shot. Yeah. What would you say? Write it down at length and then edit it scrupulously. Yeah. Demonstration. I love this. I've seen this ad all over the world. Yeah. Elephant eats tilly hat 3 times. Yeah. This is a true story. People love stories. James is going to talk about stories afterwards. Michael Hackenberger, a zoo director in Ontario, used to train elephants. One of his students developed the habit of reaching up, snatching off and eating Michael's beloved tilly hat. Time would pass and the hat would trim. Yeah, I tell you what, this is the ultimate demonstration. If an elephant eats your hat and shits it out 3 times and you can still wear it, that's a hell of a hat. Faces, remember I told you about faces? Yeah? I'm serious what I was saying before. You go through the video of this and then say, and just sort of, am I using faces? Am I asking people what they think? Am I demonstrating? Do I have testimonials? Do I have this? Do I have that? Do I have the other? Very important. This is, how many people have seen Jaws? The film Jaws? Do you remember the film Jaws? The shark? Written by a guy called Benchley. Peter Benchley. He's dead now. This is his father. He's also dead. I'm not quite dead. I'm working on it. So Robert Benchley said something I thought was hilarious. He said, the world is divided into 2 types of people. Those who believe the world is divided into 2 types of people and those who don't. And all you've got to think about is your people you're talking, they're divided into 2 types of people, those who are likely to be interested and those who are not. Yeah? Don't waste your time trying to persuade people who are not interested. Go for the ones that are really interested. And when, after lunch, when we do the exercise, a bit later after lunch, after James has spoken, what I'm going to ask you to do is to think about your customers, yeah? And who are the people who are really interested? Because you really should always be trying to write to the perfect prospect, yeah? So who are these people that I'm trying to get the money from? Yeah? So here's a little exercise for you. This is the way that advertising agencies go about it. So they give a brief, they say, oh, there's some prospects, their average age is between 55 and 65. What are their likely interests and hobbies? What do you think? Average sort of people. What do you think? Gardening? Anything else? Travel? Anything else? Golf? Yeah. Always remember you're writing to individuals, These are... I saw these guys actually together with about 25,000 close friends of mine in Sydney about 3 years ago. You're writing to individuals, with interesting characteristics. What are these people thinking? Your job is to try and get in line with their thinking. Can I sort of catch the wave that's going on in their brain? What's going on? What are they thinking about? if I can say something that I know they're thinking, yeah, I've got them. Yeah? So my friend Bill Jamie, who wrote the funny envelope lines, had possibly his best ever mailing began with the words, "Has this ever happened to you? It sure used to happen to me." And I was doing a seminar a few years ago, and I said to somebody there, I said, "I'll tell you what," I said, "this is so simple. I bet I could write a letter which began with the words, 'I was thinking of you the other day,' and it would work." And I saw somebody at that seminar about a year later said, "Remember what you told me about?" I said, "What did I tell you?" Because I never remember what I say. "You told me if I book," she said, "I've tried it, it works." Because people are so interested in themselves. The mere fact that that's charming, I say, "I was thinking about you the other day." Well, that's nice. I mean, are you not pleased when somebody says, "I was thinking about you the other day"? That's simple. What have you done? So, it's very, very important. You see, what prospects are thinking is, number one, why should I choose you? Yeah? And most marketing doesn't even address that question. Why should I choose you? Second question, can you do something for me that nobody else can do? Third question, if you can't do that, you can do anything better than anyone else can do it. So you've got to be able to say what is special about you. And if somebody else could say the same thing, then you're not safe. Yeah? You're not safe. There's no reason why they should choose you. So you should really spend a lot of time thinking, what makes you special? Yeah? And here are 21 possible reasons why people might choose you. Yeah? You're unique, you're cheaper, you're quicker, better value, safer, the most trusted, more friendly. I would say, for instance, I go across the Atlantic a lot, and I would say that Virgin is more friendly than British Airways. Yeah? But sometimes the American airlines are cheaper, and I'm as cheap as they come. Are you the most tested? Do you give quicker service? Are you the most advanced? Are you the latest? Are you the oldest? Are you the oldest? The most loved? The one experts prefer? The most reliable? More fun? Sold in a special way? Easier to deal with? More helpful? If all you ever did was sit down and write that down and say, which one of these applies to us, or are there any others that apply to us, then you're beginning to get somewhere, yeah, in a sales argument. Getting ideas. All my life, from the age of 19, I've been in the business of getting ideas and writing them down one way or another. I don't know about you, but I find it very difficult. It's very difficult. So this is James Webb Young, creative director of Chicago, J. Wells Thompson, Chicago, who wrote this book called A Technique for Getting Ideas, and he analysed how people get ideas. And what he found out was pretty much similar to what I was talking to you about before when I said, this is the process you have to go through. Yeah? He studied the way people like Mozart and Beethoven and so on got ideas. There's only one particular hint I can give you, and that is that a terrific way of getting ideas is to go for walks or take some sort of exercise. Don't think about them at all. That stimulates the flow of blood to the brain. Taking a hot shower works as well. Yeah. Some people say that consuming large quantities of alcohol may help. I have known this to happen. I do not recommend it. But the mailing that I showed you with the envelope, do you believe in love, which is the best thing I've ever written because it was, you know, it made a lot of difference to save the children. I got the idea when I was pissed as a rat. But this is what James Webb concerned. What I told you, first of all, learn about everything, not just what you sell, anything relevant, other ways to do the same thing, what your prospect might be thinking, recent news or changes in the market. Talk to the customers and prospects. When I used to handle the American Express account around the world, and the one thing that I was impressed with, well, quite a few things actually, one in particular was the way their top people used to listen in on telephone calls to the customers. Yeah? Most people don't. They don't get involved with the customers at all. You know? We're busy restructuring our thingamajig. Talk to customers, you know. I've got a meeting. I can't be bothered about the customers. Be a customer or prospect. Ring up and apply and see a salesman. Yeah, see what happens. For many years, we handled the Everest account, and the first thing we did when we were asked to, drove me bloody mad. We were asked to do it was we got them to send us one of their top salesmen in the pretense that we were real prospects. And this is a guy who's making a lot of money, yeah? So this guy, he has to sell or die. Making a lot of money. So we had a pitch from this guy. It was unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. And he did something so clever, because before he got there, I was sort of thinking, how do you overcome the fact that Everest is grossly overpriced? Well, it's very expensive. But you do get good stuff, you know. And we were in somebody else's flat pretending it was ours, and I was sort of looking out some CDs, and this chap was saying, "Are those yours? Did you like music, do you?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "You won't be able to afford any of those when you paid for this lot." So he was confirming my belief that it was very, very expensive, yeah? And then when it came to give the price, he did this trick of surprise. I saw the price, thought it was very reasonable compared to what I was expecting. Yeah? So see a top salesman. Apply to you, ring up yourself and see what happens, and find out maybe something's wrong with the way that you deal with people when they come in. You know? Write to somebody, not everybody. Yeah? That's what you have to do. Yeah? Like an Exocet missile. This is from my former partner. I think this is just a cracking opening if you're talking to people about pensions. This is an insert. Only open if you've ever said to yourself, I must do something with my pension one day. And then the little kicker, 17 million people delay, fear of loss, and end up doing nothing with theirs. Yeah. Straight in. Here are 5 steps to get a response. You're probably familiar with this, but I'll go through them. Gain attention. Benefits generally get the most attention, followed by news. And be very clever, be very careful of clever ideas. I'm not saying that clever ideas don't work. I'm just saying that you better make sure that whatever you're coming up with does either explicitly imply or actually state a benefit, yeah? And if you can make it news, even better, yeah? Even better. When you've said something, one of the problems that people sometimes, they will write something and then they'll have another idea and charge off in another direction, yeah? It must follow linearly, yeah? It must follow, one thing must follow. That's why the old mail order ads they'd make a big promise. Lose 16, 27, 42 pounds in a week, or all your money back instantly. And then you have to think, what's going through the mind of the person who just saw that? The person who just saw that says, I don't bloody well believe you. Yeah? So then the copy begins, yes, it's true. Yeah? And then you amplify, you know, 16,723 people in Cleveland in the last week of blah, blah, blah. Yeah? Yeah, so it follows on logically. So this is one that, so A and B. This one was tested against this one. Yeah. Remember, the average ad's only seen for a couple of seconds. Yeah? So it's the headline that is really going to make the difference. So who thinks that A would have made more money than B? Okay. And who thinks that B would have made more money than A? I think you probably have any of you seen this before? Yeah, a few of you, yeah. Well, that's B, which is the one I wrote, of course. That did 10 times better. They were about to close the division down. That saved a lot of people's jobs. And that's a great thing about writing copy, you know. You can write copy, you can save people's jobs. Yeah? You can do a lot of good stuff with copy. Yeah? You can save children's lives. You can do all sorts of good things. Yeah? Besides making a living. Another great line, yeah? Wonderful line. Look, this is great copy. So it's because somebody thought of a great incentive to let we got a better... People who traded in their cars, yeah, we got a better price for your old car than we expected. Here's a cheque for 50. Who are they going to do business with next time? Yeah? The guy who was honest, who said, hey, you know, we got more money, here you are. Is that charming or what? I find that very charming. The concept of a charming motor dealer is almost incomprehensible, but there you are. That's the letter I wrote to the over 60s, yeah? Thank you. Works like a charm, because I'm thinking, what are these people thinking? They're thinking, people are so bloody rude nowadays. They don't say please, they don't say thank you, they don't open doors for you, yeah? So immediately they're going to say, yes, it's true, they don't do it often enough nowadays. How nice of you to think of us. And that's what you want. When you write copy, one of the things you're hoping that people will say is, how nice of you to think of me. How nice of you. Again, going, that's what charm is all about. How nice is you to think of me. Here's one I like. This has a lot of charm. Dear so-and-so, this letter is really meant for your cat, but since I don't know his name, I'm addressing it to you. Anyone who's got cats, they're going to smile. You know, they're going to smile. Perhaps you know me, and this is to link to a television commercial in the Netherlands which showed a dancing cat, yeah, whose name, of course, was Felix. And he explains that I'm the cat that made dancing a favourite sport amongst Dutch cats. You've probably seen the commercials. And you know, but the thing is, it appears that a lot of cats that try to dance are no good at it. Yeah? So what we've done is we've prepared a placemat on which the proper steps are explained. And all you have to do is send in, and you can have this placemat so that your cat can learn to dance. How many people here can speak Dutch? How fortunate you are to have me with you. Me. That's not easy. There's the placemat, the free placemat, with the steps explained, and it's to get people to fill in a questionnaire. One of the questions was, what is your cat's birthday? What is your cat's name? Yeah? So the next thing they get is a birthday card to the cat. Desire, get people excited, paint word pictures, show how the prospect will benefit or avoid what they don't want, appeal to people's emotions, again and again, emotions, yeah? And you've got to convince people by using testimonials, test results, statistics examples, and clear, worthwhile guarantees. I've mentioned that before, it's worth mentioning again. How would you like to work from your home in your underwear? Yeah? Desire. Who wouldn't want to bloody well? I moved from London, from Chelsea to Bristol, yeah? And one of the things I like about Bristol is that I don't only go into London to see my office twice a week, maybe once a week. I get up in the morning. I do not smarten myself up very much. I make my way in leisurely fashion to my computer, bang out a few lies and misrepresentations. I write my blog, think of what people might be interested in. Actually, all I do is I just think, what might people be interested in? What will make them smile? What will help them? What will surprise them? And that's a blog, yeah? Or Facebook. Yeah? There's a lot of talk today about social marketing. Most of it rubbish. Yeah? My suggestion to you, ladies and gentlemen, is that all marketing should be social. Yeah? I cannot conceive of any reason why I would not want to be social, if you like, or sociable I would prefer, in my communications to you. Yeah? Can't think of any reason. I can't think of any reason. The only reason that people try and give you a lot of other stuff is they want to make it sound complicated. The only reason I'm here is to tell you it's simple. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying that every single thing I've said so far is extremely simple if you've been listening, yeah? Nothing clever. Nothing clever. This does everything, you know, that's a benefit. It's also something you'd like emotional. That proves it. It could if you were one of 25 million Americans. You're not sure, get this free thing, yeah? It's an old ad. One of my hints to you is, look, when you see advertisements running and running and running and running, and assuming that the people who are running them have to get replied, therefore can count, then those ads are working, yeah? So watch. Watch and study and copy. And then ask repeatedly for a response, yeah? Time closes, that's over in 10 days. I had lots of fun. Did any people see the video I did where I had 4 fingers and I said there's only 4 places left? Yeah, well, I did that long before I knew there would ever be 4 places left. But I knew that if I said there are only 4 places left, I will sell those 4 places, which we did. Yeah? So, and remind people what they're going to get when you ask them. Yeah? We talked about that during the question session earlier on. They needn't necessarily be in the same order, those things. I mean, there's a French guy I used to know, who wrote a mailing and on the outside it said, "Ladies, please do not open. It will only spoil the surprise." You imagine what they're... So that was actually an urge to action right at the very beginning, really. Yeah? Okay.